It was just another morning for Mr. Harold, 74 years old. He had his usual breakfast, watered the plants, then settled into his favorite armchair by the window, the one where he always read the newspaper. Everything felt normal, until it didn't. His heart started pounding. His hands trembled slightly. A sudden wave of fatigue swept over him like a fog. His wife, startled, called 911. At the hospital, doctors confirmed a spike in blood pressure had triggered a minor stroke. But here's what made it so surprising. Harold took his medication regularly. He ate a relatively low-sodium diet, and he walked around his garden every morning. So why did this happen? Maybe you or someone you love are living a life just like Harold's, doing everything right on the surface, but still quietly being harmed by high blood pressure underneath. High blood pressure is called the silent killer for a reason. But the real danger isn't just the number on the screen, it's the small, unnoticed habits that quietly push your blood pressure higher day after day. Today, I'm going to walk you through 7 silent mistakes most people over 55 make without even realizing it. The kinds of mistakes that don't just raise blood pressure, they impact your heart, your memory, your sleep, and your overall quality of life. And more importantly, I'll show you how to fix each one. Simple, practical changes. No new medications, no extreme routines. Because true health doesn't come from big, dramatic gestures. It comes from the small choices you repeat every single day. Ready to begin? Let's start with the very first hidden habit, one you might already be doing this morning without even knowing it.
Let me tell you a little story. George is 68 years old and lives in sunny San Diego. Each morning, he gets up early, makes a cup of coffee, takes a peaceful walk around the neighborhood, and tends to his tomato plants in the backyard. He lives simply, stays active, and by his own words, sometimes forgets that he's even old. George was diagnosed with high blood pressure 5 years ago. At first, he was careful, taking his meds on time, checking his blood pressure regularly. But then he still felt fine. And like many others, he started thinking, do I really need this every day? Skipping a dose here and there can't hurt, right? One day, he forgot. The next day, he was busy. Then he thought, I'll just wait until my numbers go up, then I'll take it. And then one cool March morning, after watering his tomatoes, George felt dizzy. Before he could call for help, he collapsed next to the garden he'd nurtured for years. George had a mild stroke. Doctors confirmed the cause, a sudden blood pressure spike after several days of inconsistent medication. Why does this happen so often? It's not because seniors are careless. It's because blood pressure meds don't make you feel better right away, like a pain reliever or allergy pill might. You take it, and nothing happens. You skip it, and still nothing seems wrong. And that nothing is the trap. High blood pressure doesn't scream. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't swell or sting. But behind the scenes, it's slowly putting pressure on your heart, your kidneys, your brain. Until one day, it explodes into a crisis. Stop. Here are 5 common reasons older adults unintentionally misuse their medication. They forget, especially without reminders or a set routine. They reduce the dose, splitting pills or skipping days to save money or not feel dependent. They stop taking it when they feel fine, assuming they're cured. They fear side effects, but never tell their doctor. They don't fully understand why they need it, just that the doctor said to take it. So, how do we avoid falling into this invisible trap? Make medication a habit, not a decision. Just like brushing your teeth or eating breakfast, you do it without overthinking it. Use tools like pill organizers, phone alarms, or smartwatches. Medication apps like Medisafe or CareZone. If you miss a dose, never double up. Call your doctor instead. Experiencing side effects? Don't stay silent. There are over 50 different blood pressure medications. Chances are there's one that works better for you with fewer side effects. And above all, don't stop taking your medication just because your readings look normal. A normal reading may simply mean the medication is working. George recovered, slowly but steadily. Now, every morning, right after watering his tomato plants, he takes his medication on time. He even jokes with his friends at the senior center. If you don't want to visit the ER again, make sure you visit your pill bottle every day. Taking your meds properly is the foundation. But if you're still eating healthy-looking foods that secretly pack a day's worth of sodium, then even the best medication can only do so much. So where exactly is all that salt hiding in our daily meals? And why saying, "I don't eat salty," doesn't always mean I eat low sodium? Let's move on to mistake number 2, sneaky sodium.
Ruth, 73, proudly says she never eats salty food. No soy sauce, no seasoning packets, no table salt. She cooks with fresh vegetables, keeps her meals light and clean. And yet, her blood pressure refused to drop below 145. At her latest checkup, her doctor gently asked, "Do you eat canned food, sauces, or maybe a sandwich for breakfast?" She chuckled and said, "Of course. It's quick and easy, Doc." And that's when the truth came out. Ruth wasn't eating salty food, but sodium was sneaking into her body every single day. So where is all that sodium hiding? Sodium isn't just in the salt shaker. It's hiding in almost every packaged, processed, or even healthy-looking food. A single can of soup equals 800 to 1,000 milligrams sodium. One slice of sandwich bread equals 150 to 200 milligrams. 2 slices equals 400 milligrams. 1 tablespoon of ketchup equals 190 milligrams. A small serving of low-fat salad dressing equals 250 milligrams. Even whole grain cereal, yes, the good kind, can have 200 to 300 milligrams per serving. Each item may seem harmless, but together they can easily push you far beyond the recommended daily limit of 1,500 milligrams for heart-sensitive older adults. Ruth didn't eat salty, but she was still overloaded with sodium every single day. Why is sodium such a concern? Sodium causes your body to retain water, which increases blood volume, placing more pressure on artery walls. For seniors, that's even riskier. Kidneys filter sodium less efficiently, blood vessels are more fragile, and the effects of excess sodium build silently over time. You won't feel it right away, but your heart is working harder, every bite, every day. The simple fix? Become friends with food labels. Step 1, start reading the nutrition facts, look for sodium. Step 2, choose items labeled as low sodium, less than 140 milligrams per serving. Step 3, look for no salt added or unsalted products. Step 4, rinse canned beans, corn, or vegetables to reduce excess sodium. Step 5, add flavor, not salt. Use garlic, black pepper, lemon, vinegar, roasted peppers, rosemary. Your taste buds will adjust, and soon you'll start to actually taste the natural flavors, not just the salt. These days, Ruth makes her own veggie soup at home. She skips the bottled dressing and whips up her own with olive oil, apple cider vinegar, and minced garlic. And instead of white bread, she's trying out unsalted whole grain options. Not because her doctor told her to, but because now she understands, if my heart is an engine, I can't flood it with salty water every day and expect it to run smooth. You might eat healthy, you might take your meds on time, but if you don't know what your blood pressure is doing each day, it's like driving a car without ever looking at the speedometer. When was the last time you checked your blood pressure? And are you sure those numbers in your head are still accurate today? Let's move on to mistake number 3,
not monitoring your blood pressure regularly.
Bill, 66, lives a pretty typical life in the suburbs of Texas. Once a month, he visits his doctor for a checkup. He doesn't smoke, takes casual walks after dinner, and always carries a list of his medications in his wallet. Each time his blood pressure is taken at the clinic, the doctor says, "It's a little high, but nothing to worry about." And Bill believes that. Until one night, he wakes up suddenly, heart pounding, cold sweat, dizzy and disoriented. At the hospital, his blood pressure reads 188 over 112. There's nothing almost fine about that. Doctors conclude, Bill's blood pressure had been spiking more often than he thought, but because he only checked it once a month at the clinic, he had no idea. Blood pressure isn't something you can feel, and that's what makes it dangerous. Unlike a headache or an upset stomach, high blood pressure often shows no obvious symptoms. You can laugh, drive, go grocery shopping while your heart is quietly struggling. And if you only check it at the doctor's office, you're seeing a snapshot, not the full movie. Why home monitoring matters more than you think? Blood pressure fluctuates throughout the day when you sleep, eat salty foods, get stressed. White coat syndrome. Many people have higher readings at the doctor's due to anxiety. On the flip side, some people's blood pressure spikes in the early morning, but appears normal during clinic visits. No home monitoring equals no accurate data. Your doctor can't adjust medications properly. Your risks quietly grow. How to start checking your blood pressure at home? It's easier than you think. Choose a reliable monitor. Brands like Omron, Cardio, or any arm cuff style monitor work well. Take readings the right way. Sit quietly for 5 minutes before measuring. Rest your arm at heart level. Avoid talking during the reading. Measure at the same time each day, for example, first thing in the morning. Track your readings. Use a simple notebook or apps like Smart BP to store and share data with your doctor. A real-life difference from one simple change? One of my patients, Linda, 72, began measuring her blood pressure every morning after her son bought her an automatic home monitor. After just 2 weeks, she noticed a clear pattern. Her morning readings were consistently 30 points higher than in the afternoon. That insight helped her doctor adjust her medication timing. Now her numbers are stable, and she feels more at ease knowing her body's signals. Bill now has his own blood pressure monitor at home. Every morning, after a light coffee, he checks his numbers and only then starts his day. He says, "I don't guess anymore. I know. And when you know, you can take action. You might take your meds regularly. You might eat well. You might monitor your numbers daily. But there's something else that can silently raise your blood pressure, and you may not even be aware of it. It's not food, it's not numbers, it's what you've been holding inside." Let's take a closer look at mistake number 4. Stress, the hidden force quietly raising your blood pressure every day.
Helen, 70, is the kind of woman who always seems composed, neat, thoughtful, and smiling gently whenever someone asks, "How are you doing?" She's been living alone since her husband passed away last year. Her daughter works in New York and calls when she can. Helen always says, "I'm fine. I'm used to it. I'm strong." But during her recent checkups, her blood pressure started to creep up, gradually and steadily. Her doctor reviewed everything. Medication, on schedule. Diet, reasonable. Sleep, not great, but manageable. Then the doctor asked softly, "Do you often feel sad or worried, but don't talk to anyone about it?" Helen paused, then quietly nodded. Stress isn't just an emotion, it's a physical response. When you're anxious, grieving, or overwhelmed, your body reacts as if you're under threat. Hormones like adrenaline and cortisol flood your system. Your heart rate rises, blood vessels narrow, and your blood pressure spikes to help you handle the danger. In the short term, your body can manage, but when stress becomes chronic and unresolved, your blood pressure stays elevated, wearing down your heart and blood vessels over time. And the scariest part? Most people don't even realize they're stressed. What does hidden stress look like? You feel tired for no clear reason. You sleep poorly or wake up in the middle of the night. You're irritable, forgetful, or no longer enjoy the things you used to love. Your body aches, tight shoulders, stiff neck, racing heart, and doctors can't find a cause. And when people ask how you're doing, you say, "I'm okay." But deep down, your heart is carrying a quiet burden. A real-life example, Helen and the stress she never spoke about. After that visit, her doctor recommended 2 small, simple things. Write down 3 things she was grateful for each night before bed, and call an old friend once a week. That was it. A month later, her blood pressure had improved slightly, but more importantly, she was sleeping through the night for the first time in months. She told me, "I don't feel like I have to be strong all by myself anymore." Gentle ways to release stress, no pills, no cost. Try the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Take a slow walk outside each morning, just to hear the birds and see the trees. Keep a simple journal, just a few honest lines a day. Listen to soft music, hum along, or simply sit in quiet for a few minutes. Pray, meditate, or talk to someone you trust. You don't have to transform your entire life. You just need to give yourself a few moments of genuine rest, inside and out. She still lives alone, but now every morning she makes herself a cup of chamomile tea, turns on soft radio music, and writes a few lines in her notebook. Not for anyone else to read, but so my heart knows it's being heard. Caring for our emotional well-being is something we often overlook, just like physical movement, something we tend to underestimate when we think rest is always good. But sometimes the very thing we think is helping us, sitting too long, resting too much, might be the silent reason our blood pressure is rising day after day. Let's move on to mistake number 5, lack of movement. Why rest isn't always best.
Raymond, 74, used to be a high school gym teacher. These days, in retirement, his days look very different. He spends time watching TV, reading the newspaper, doing crossword puzzles, and playing Sudoku. He tells his friends, "I'm not lazy, I'm just resting." His doctor recently warned him that his blood pressure was starting to creep up. Raymond was surprised. "But I eat well, I don't smoke, I take my meds, so why is my blood pressure rising?" The answer is simple and easy to overlook. He was sitting too much. Doing nothing is still doing something with consequences. When you sit for long periods, your blood flow slows. Blood vessels lose elasticity. Your heart isn't engaged or challenged, and your body slowly loses its ability to regulate blood pressure efficiently. Sitting too long doesn't just weaken your muscles, it quietly raises your blood pressure in a way that adds up over time. Movement is medicine. Start small.
You don't need to go to the gym. You don't need fancy gear or a strict routine. All you need is to sit less and move more. Stand up and walk around for 2 to 3 minutes every 30 minutes. During TV commercials, stretch, sway, or do a lap around the room. Take a 10-minute walk around your yard or hallway each morning. Do light stretches while waiting for the kettle or microwave. Every little bit of movement helps reset your body and protect your heart. A real-life example, Diane and her smartwatch. Diane, 69, received a smartwatch from her daughter. Every 45 minutes, the watch gently vibrated and displayed a message. Time to move. At first, she found it annoying, but eventually, she started walking a few laps around the house. She played soft music and did some shoulder rolls. After 1 month, she noticed fewer headaches, better sleep, and more stable blood pressure. She said, "I don't run, I don't jump, but I finally stopped sitting still all day." After his latest checkup, Raymond decided to take a morning walk around the garden. And instead of watching 3 hours of TV without moving, he now sets an alarm every 40 minutes to stand up, sip water, stretch, or simply look out the window. He told me, "I thought I was resting, but I was letting my body fall asleep. Now I've woken it up in every sense of the word." Consistent movement keeps your body running smoothly. Your heart, your brain, your sleep. But there are 2 little treats we often enjoy every day, and if we're not careful, they can quietly fool the heart. A warm cup of coffee in the morning, a small glass of wine at night. Are they truly helping you relax or silently damaging your blood vessels? Let's explore mistake number 6. Caffeine and alcohol, the double agents you trust too much.
Gerald, 71, lives with his wife in Colorado. Each morning, he brews a strong cup of black coffee, what he calls his brain wake-up juice. And each evening, he pours himself a glass of red wine. "It's good for the heart," he says with a smile. "Just 1 glass. What harm can it do?" But lately, his blood pressure has been climbing, unexpectedly and unpredictably. He's still taking his meds, eating low-sodium meals, and going on evening walks. Even his doctor was puzzled until they had a deeper conversation about what Gerald drinks every day. That's when things started to make sense. Brain, caffeine, small but powerful. Caffeine is a stimulant. It raises your heart rate, constricts blood vessels, and temporarily increases blood pressure, especially within 30 to 60 minutes after drinking it. Younger bodies can adjust quickly, but as we age, our blood vessels become less flexible, our nervous system more sensitive, and caffeine stays in the bloodstream for longer. That means a single morning cup could affect your blood pressure well into the afternoon. Q. How to know if caffeine affects your body. Try this simple test. Take your blood pressure before your coffee. Then measure it again 1 hour after. If the reading goes up more than 10 points, you may be caffeine sensitive. Other signs include jitters, rapid heartbeat, trouble sleeping, feeling anxious or restless. And what about alcohol? Alcohol feels relaxing in the moment, but that's temporary. Afterward, it can dehydrate your body, thickening your blood, disrupt deep sleep,
leading to fatigue. Strain your liver and kidneys, the very organs that help manage blood pressure. Interact with blood pressure meds, causing dizziness, fatigue, or even liver damage. For older adults, even 1 to 2 drinks per week can make a difference, especially if taken at the wrong time or on an empty stomach. Leaf, a real-life shift. Joyce and her new cup of tea. Joyce, 68, often felt tired and had mild insomnia. She believed coffee gave her energy and wine helped her sleep. Then her daughter gifted her a caffeine-free herbal tea blend. She gradually swapped her morning coffee for chamomile and ginger tea, and replaced her evening wine with warm lemon water and honey. Within 3 weeks, her blood pressure began to stabilize. She started sleeping better, and she said she finally felt awake on the inside. Leaf, gentle alternatives your heart will thank you for. Coffee, instead of coffee, try rooibos, herbal blends, or decaf. Wine, instead of wine, sip on warm lemon water, sparkling water with citrus slices, or chamomile tea. You don't have to give everything up. Just cut back, be mindful of the timing, and listen to how your body responds. He still enjoys coffee, but now it's a low caffeine blend, only in the early morning after eating. Wine, he saves it for special occasions only. He says, "I didn't give up my old habits. I just changed how I keep them, so my heart can breathe a little easier." You might take your meds, eat clean, exercise, manage stress, and even adjust your drinks. But if you're keeping things from your doctor, small symptoms, side effects, struggles, then the only person who can truly help doesn't have the full picture. Let's move into the final mistake most people don't even realize is a mistake: not communicating with your doctor.
Elaine, 75, is polite, thoughtful, and incredibly private. She always arrives on time for her doctor's appointments. She brings a neatly written list of her medications and tracks her blood pressure at home with care. But there's one thing she doesn't do. She doesn't tell the whole story. She never mentions the mild dizziness she feels after her morning pill. She doesn't bring up how she's been sleeping more than usual, or how her focus has been slipping. And when the doctor asks, "Is there anything else you'd like to share?" she simply smiles and says, "No, I'm fine." Talking to your doctor isn't bothering them, it's how they help you better. Many older adults think, if it's not serious, it's not worth mentioning, or they worry they'll be seen as dramatic, or don't know if their concern is important enough. But here's the truth. Doctors can't help if they don't know what's really going on. Sometimes a simple sentence like, "I feel a bit dizzy when I stand up," could actually save your life. The risks of staying silent, wrong meds, missed diagnoses, and growing danger. You might stop taking your medication due to side effects, but never mention it. You could be taking over-the-counter supplements that interact with your blood pressure meds without realizing it. You might be experiencing early signs of memory loss, but if you don't say anything, your doctor can't help in time. How to communicate better with your doctor, even if you're a quiet person. Before your visit, write down 3 questions or concerns you want to bring up. Bring your blood pressure log, a list of medications, and any supplements you're taking. During the visit, speak up if you don't understand something. You don't need medical jargon. You just need to understand what you're doing and why. Be honest about your feelings. If something's bothering you, even emotionally, say it out loud. Use technology when needed. If it's hard to get to the clinic, ask about telehealth appointments, patient portals, or virtual check-ins. A small moment of change, from Elaine to empowerment. At her next appointment, her daughter came along, and with one gentle question, "Do you ever feel weird after your morning pill?" Elaine opened up about her dizziness. The doctor immediately adjusted her schedule, moving her medication to the evening. 3 days later, the symptom disappeared. Elaine smiled and said, "Honestly, all I had to do was speak up a little sooner." Communication doesn't have to be long, it just has to be honest. You don't need to tell your doctor everything. You just need to share what your body is already trying to whisper to you. And remember, healthcare isn't a solo journey. Your doctor isn't there to judge you, they're there to walk beside you. So now we've uncovered 7 silent mistakes that many older adults make when managing high blood pressure. Skipping or misusing medication, consuming hidden sodium, not monitoring blood pressure at home, letting stress build up silently, sitting too much, moving too little, overusing caffeine and alcohol, and not communicating fully with your doctor. These mistakes don't come from laziness or lack of care. They come from routine, from the belief that everything seems fine. But now you know more. And when you notice more and act more intentionally, you give your heart a better chance to stay strong for the long run and in the gentlest way possible. And now it's your turn. Choose just one of these 7 habits to change, starting today. Because every small step you take is one safer, stronger heartbeat for you and for the people who love you.
You see, managing blood pressure isn't just about pills and numbers. It's the story of tiny daily choices. What you eat, how you sleep, how you respond to stress, and how honestly you speak with your doctor. And the beautiful part is, you don't have to change your whole life overnight. You just have to start with one habit, one extra step, one honest conversation, one cup of tea instead of coffee, one moment of standing when you've been sitting too long. Every small action is a gift you give your heart, a quiet message that says, "I'm still here. I'm still taking care of myself." A healthy body doesn't begin in a hospital. It begins with awareness and with you. If you've stayed with me this far, I know one thing for sure. You care deeply about your health, and I believe you're strong enough to make a change, not out of fear, but out of love for yourself. Target. If you learned something today, share this video with someone you care about. Editing. Let us know in the comments. Which habit will you start with? And if this kind of content helps you, subscribe to the channel so you never miss what comes next. Because every time you watch, reflect, and apply, you're not just lowering your blood pressure. You're changing your quality of life, one heartbeat at a time. Leaf moding, thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll keep walking together on this journey toward healthier, calmer, longer living, surrounded by the people who matter most.